Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan again, and today we're going to be talking about another thing that's like Goosebumps. And I have kind of a first big warning to put up here on the channel. This is in the same situation as Stephen King's It, which I talked about the book here on the channel. I plan on kind of talking about the remakes at some point, God willing. But I know a lot of people like that I talk more about Goosebumps than I do other things, you know, that kind of involve kids and kind of feel like Goosebumps and stuff. But one of my biggest interests is how I think anthology films, whether it be specifically anthology horror films, they feel a lot like how Goosebumps and Tales from the Crypt, more like Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side do than Goosebumps, but still, I like how they feel like that. I plan on talking about those different shows at some point, God willing, as well, here on the channel. So, things like these anthology films, if I come across them and I watch them, I think it's worth talking about here on the channel, whether it be to draw in some extra viewers who want to talk about some Goosebumps stuff or talk about some other things like Twilight Zone and so many other things that these anthology films are pretty much influenced by. Kind of like Creepshow, you know, if you're familiar with that. This channel is not a children's channel. I want to make that very explicit. I've said it over and over again. My channel is very focused on just fans of Goosebumps. Doesn't matter your age. But I do want to put up warnings that films like this, All Hallows Eve, are not meant for kids. They're not even meant for teenagers. They're meant for like adults. Like this is probably, even though this is unrated on IMDb, it should be rated R. It should be. There is plenty of foul language. There's plenty of suggestive, gorier aspects of the film that certainly should not be seen by children. But I do think it's very Goosebumpsy in its tone and its atmosphere. It has a little bit of humor to it too that I enjoyed. I thought it'd be more of a fun thing to talk about. Kind of like I recently talked about Brian Keene's Darkness on the Edge of Town. That book was fantastic. I wanted to talk about it because it's kind of like Twilight Zone feeling, you know? I understand this is a thing like Goosebumps segment of my channel, and yet I think it's worth talking about. So I'm going to talk about it on my channel. You can like it or lump it. That's just how I feel. I don't want to be rude about it, but that's how I feel. It's my channel. I think if you don't like to watch this, that's fine. But I just think it's worth throwing out there to try to grow the channel a little bit more beyond Goosebumps. But also just to talk about some fun stuff. You know, you guys probably, especially people my age, I think there's probably more people my age watching the channel than there are any other ages, especially compared to kids. So maybe there's something you can learn from this video, or maybe something you can watch from one of my things like Goosebumps segments I talk about here on the channel. Maybe find something new you might want to watch. I don't know. I just want to do recommendations for stuff. But anyway, All Hallows Eve is not my favorite thing ever. It's not even close to being my favorite anthology film for horror or anything for that matter. It has some great aspects to it. Some really great aspects that I cannot wait to tell you about. But it's really not the greatest movie ever. Essentially, this director, who is Damien Leone, he essentially, or Leone, there's an E on the end, so I think it's Leone. Anyway, he made 3 different short films in the previous years leading up to this movie being made in 2013. So pretty much you're taking old homeschool or homemade horror films, horror short films, about 15 or 20 minutes long each, and just trying to edit them into a bigger picture movie. I love the concept for the movie. I cannot wait to see what they do with All Hallows Eve 2, which is also a film that already exists as well. I heard it's worse than this. I don't know how true that could be, but still. I'm a fan of anthology films like Creepshow, like VHS. VHS is probably my favorite of all of them, more than likely. I don't know how entirely true that is, but it might be, I would say. Twilight Zone movie is also very good as well. This particular film is essentially about a babysitter. It has this very Halloween, John Carpenter Halloween type feel to it, that a babysitter's taking care of 2 kids on Halloween night after they've already finished up their trick-or-treating and stuff. They're kind of just looking through their bags, getting ready to send the kids off to go to bed and stuff before their parents come home. And the younger boy out of the 2 kids actually looks through his bag and finds a VHS tape. And of course, this is 2013. Nobody has VHS players, or VCRs if you want to call them that. Nobody has these anymore. And nobody watches tapes anymore, except for me, because I love tapes. But still, the kid essentially talks the babysitter into at least viewing the film, because it might be something that the kid shouldn't watch. It might be something that could be illegal for all we know. And the babysitter's very cautious about that. I actually like the girl who played the babysitter. I thought she was very good. Brought something very special to the film, as a matter of fact. And she decides to watch this little short film first before she lets the kids watch it. She starts watching it. It turns out to just be kind of a dumb, gory, really creepy story about a girl who is waiting for a train. And this part's pretty fantastic in the story itself. It's the rest of the story I don't like as much. This girl's waiting on a train, she goes to the bathroom, she comes back, and in the waiting room for the train, there happens to be a clown sitting there. Now mind you, this clown is called Art the Clown. And Art the Clown is the saving grace for this movie. He is fantastic. He's like our version of the Crypt Keeper in this movie, instead of Tales from the Crypt. But he is played by, excuse me, I'm trying to bring it up right now. He is played by Mike Gianelli, and he is fantastic. Mike, if you for some reason come across this video, you did a killer job, literally. I'm telling you, Art the Clown is so much fun. He's like a funnier Pennywise the Dancing Clown from Stephen King's It. He just has so much going for him. This guy has so much charisma as an actor and brings so much to that character. And I'm sad to say that Mike Gianelli does not play him in the recent film that's kind of a spin-off from this called Terrifier. Terrifier is a film that everybody knows about. Everybody's been talking about how gory and horrendously just insane that movie is. Art the Clown is in Terrifier, and it's played by a different actor, and both do a great job. But this one, man, Mike Gianelli, he did something really special here. But anyway, he starts kind of tormenting the girl. He starts honking his horn in the room that he pulls out of his bag just to annoy her while she's reading a book. He doesn't talk or anything like that. If you hit him, he doesn't grunt, you know? He essentially drugs the girl, and she gets kidnapped. She wakes up with a kind of a metal chain that's like wrapped around her neck and everything. She can't get out. There's also two other girls that are with her. They're trapped underground, possibly in a train tunnel for all we know. We don't really understand where they are, but I won't spoil all the little short stories for you in the movie. I'll kind of tell you the general premise for each of these. This first short film is not that great after you get past the train station thing. It's not really all that great after that, frankly. The film itself is not great overall. I actually prefer all the stuff about the babysitter and the two kids compared to anything else in the movie. The short films aren't even close to being as good as this main thing that kind of ties them all together as a story about the babysitter watching the tapes, because new tapes keep popping up and the kids don't know where they're coming from. She doesn't know where they're coming from. The second story, of course, is about a woman that has a home invasion by something you would not expect. There was also a giant boom in her neighborhood. She doesn't know what it was, but she's living out in the woods now. Her fiance, husband, whatever he is, he's not there right now, so she's just kind of home alone. She talks about how he keeps painting this really creepy face on this picture. He doesn't even remember painting it. And yeah, this boom happens outside, and we think something fell from the sky. We don't know if it was a plane crash or what. But there's like a break-in into her house, and it's a stalker and stuff. But I won't get into too many details about the rest of the story. And that one tried its best to be a little bit more tense, and in some ways it works compared to the first short that we had. Not as much, in my opinion. I didn't think it was as good. It's a little bit less gory, I would say, but not by much. The ending is kind of cool, I guess. That's about it. Yeah, the first two shorts aren't that great. But eventually we get the third short of the film, which I actually really, really liked. Basically a girl that is involved with costume designing and stuff for Hollywood, or different commercials and stuff, things like that. She's driving at nighttime and she needs gas for her car. And I listen to channels like Mr. Nightmare here on YouTube who talk about scary, like, there'll be like videos uploaded that they put on their channel that'll be like 3 scary gas station stories, you know, like, this is the kind of thing that creeps me out, right? Like, I'm the guy that won't go to the Kroger gas station at nighttime because of stories like that. And that story focuses so much on Art the Clown, basically. He comes back and he gets kicked out of a store, the actual gas station that this, you know, attendant runs and that the girl visits to try to get some gas in the middle of the night. And Art the Clown wreaks so much havoc, right? But again, this is probably the goriest part of the entire film, and it is absolutely insane and vicious and wild. It's my favorite short out of all 3 of the shorts, not including the actual story that ties all of these together. But then you get an actual finale that I really like of the babysitter and the 2 kids that I thought was really cool. But again, Art the Clown is, to me, the through line of the entire movie that made it all worthwhile. I'm not even sure if he's in the second film, All Hallows Eve 2. I really hope he is, but I really, really enjoyed him here especially. He was so good. Mike Gianelli just killed that performance, seriously. The film also has a musical score that's synthesized, like an 80s soundtrack, and I thought that was pretty interesting too. Added a little bit of style and flair to the film itself. I thought it worked. I thought it was an interesting little... I don't think if you had that, I don't think it'd be any better. You know, it doesn't really change a whole lot because the short films aren't that great to begin with. But yeah, it was mostly fine. I enjoyed it for the most part. It wasn't spectacular as an overall movie, you know, but it had its moments I thought were pretty cool. If I had to rate All Hallows Eve on a 5-star basis, I dropped my phone again, man. It just keeps sliding off my leg. If I had to rate this on a 5-star basis, I'd give All Hallows Eve a 3 out of 5 stars. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun little Halloween type movie to watch, even though it's not October yet. It's September right now, but we're closing it. We're like a little over 10 days, but still, I had a good time watching it. I'd recommend it if you want something different to watch. Again, this is a channel that's focused around Goosebumps, so don't subscribe because you think we're going to get a whole lot of videos talking about things like this. But I think it feels very much in that vein of things like Tales from the Dark Side and Tales from the Crypt and all these little things that are kind of influences on Goosebumps, mainly the TV show, but still, I thought it was worth talking about. But anyway, what are your thoughts on All Hallows Eve if you have seen it? What are your thoughts? Again, this film was very gory, has a lot of swearing and stuff. I don't recommend it for kids. I don't. It's not meant for kids. It's clearly meant for adults. It's not even that great if you're an adult watching it, so, you know, it has its moments. Again, Art the Clown, that's the highlight. I recommend Terrifier as well if you haven't seen that. Pretty gruesome. Anyway, what are your thoughts, guys? Put them down below. Thank you for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.